Our breakfast. Top talk of the morning.
The time now is 7:11. You're on Power Breakfast with Tessa Dooms. We have on the line with us the Premier of Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi, to talk to us about the long-awaited number plate system that is changing, now being delivered on. Premier, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Tessa. Are you well this morning?
I'm top. How are you?
I suspect I'll be fine one day, Tessa.
We will all be fine one day, Premier. And so what is going to be launched now in terms of our new licensing system, and how will it affect the everyday travelers on the roads of Gauteng?
Thank you so much, Tessa. You'll recall that we are running out of the sequencing of the numbering of the number system. Actually, we've completely run out of them. So part of the national program was for us to get new number plates for all the provinces, not only Gauteng, but we took advantage of that because of the crime situation that we find ourselves in our province. You will recall when I was still young, yourself as well, we used to have a number plate that ends with T, that indicates that it was Transvaal, it was yellow. We ran out of the number sequencing of that as well, but when we established new provinces, we had three numbers where you have three alphabet, three numbers, and G at the end, or GP at the end. That also we ran out of the sequencing, and that's why we have the current one, which starts with two alphabets, three numbers, and other alphabets. We've run out of that as well. So that is why we said, because with problems of kidnapping, 80% of the crime in Gauteng, a motor vehicle is involved. Either it's hijacked or that particular car is cloned with an undocumented number. So we just said, maybe let's take advantage of this. It's part of our 10-point plan to fight crime in our province. Because we're putting CCTV cameras, and we also don't want to inconvenience people when police have to stop everyone to check if you have a traffic fine or what, and at roadblock. So with the new number plates, the handheld devices that we'll have will only identify those that have outstanding traffic fines, so that they don't delay another person that does not have traffic fines, or do a guesswork of which car to stop on. So that's the first risk.
So as I hear you, sorry, just to make sure I understand you. So there are really three things that you've mentioned thus far. One is that in the ordinary course of events, your number sequencing requires an upgrade or a change. Is there any possibility of retaining the plates we have now and just adding new plates, or do all plates have to change in order for this to happen?
No, I'm starting with new cars. So
okay.
You don't have to, not everyone has to queue at the offices.
Got you. I think that's what people might have been worried about.
No.
And then the second thing you mentioned was crime. And you're talking here about some technologies that you're looking to employ. Is this part of a bigger plan that you have here around a technological boost, an e-governance boost, as it were, to the sector?
Indeed. We're of the strong view that to fight the crime that we have in Gauteng, you have to up our technology. For example, if someone goes missing and you have to track the motor vehicles, we don't have to go to a third party to say, check this car for us. The state must have the capacity to do that on its own, utilizing its own network and its own databases. So that to us is very, very important. But secondly, you go to any city nowadays, you find somebody at the corner of the street not appropriately authorized or approved, saying, I'm selling number plates. So you can go to any other garage. They do not need any document from you. You just spell out the number plate in it, they print it over the counter, and then they hand it over to you.
And what would make that, what would stop that from happening now with this new generation? Would it not be able to suffer the same fate?
No, not at all. So we now have authorized people that will be given the permission to print and also permission to issue the number plates. And they've gone through, we've already published a gazette on that, where they have to apply, and they have to go through vigorous approval or vetting regime, and also they're compelled now to also give us the report on the number of people that have changed the number plate or the number of people that have applied for those number plates. So we have put that particular system as well.
Premier, that is actually astounding to me. Not to be funny, but it's astounding to me that that's a new system. That kind of process, because I would have assumed that would be the run, the run of normal events already. So that is actually quite. It took me aback a little bit when you said that. But again, if I'm a criminal, would I not just find ways to bypass these systems anyway? Is this really going to be able to avert criminals? I mean, last week we heard the Olorato story where the number plate was duplicated in order for a crime to be committed. How much faith do you have that this will actually help?
As Gauteng, we argued that it must not be Gauteng alone, because, for example, Gauteng is surrounded by Northwest, surrounded by Free State, Limpopo, and Mpumalanga. So if you change the number plates only in Gauteng, it defeats the purpose. Someone will just go to Sasolburg, which is just 30 kilometers out of Gauteng, but is in another province called Free State, or you do the same with Rustenburg. So you'll have people having foreign registration numbers coming into our province. So that's why the national rollout, which is that as Gauteng, we want to move on the basis of the technology that we want to introduce to fight crime. But everyone, I mean, you check KZN for now, they've already changed. If you check the number plates of KZN, they're no longer the same as the KZN numbers that you knew before. So
sure.
We are entering that space as a province. Now that there's going to be a national database, not only Gauteng, but everyone, we will be in a position, therefore, to ensure that no one can just establish a business without registration and issue number plates that can be duplicated or removed from the car. But also, we are suffering a huge fate, Tessa, a huge one, where our cars go beyond our boundaries. And we need to track those particular cars. But you don't even know if it is a South African car or not. So the new number plate, which will carry the flag of the country, the new number plate, which will also allow those that are going outside the province, if they have to go through the border gates, will now have or share a common database that even the people that have to check if this car is proper, they can be allowed to go through that particular database so that it determines. Because now just someone just give or hand over papers that are fraudulent, and those that are monitoring our border gates will not have the capacity or the systems to determine whether indeed this guy is authorized to leave the boundary or to leave our border or to leave our country. So it's a highly sophisticated, but it's not going to cost any cent to those that they have to change. Yeah. Because it's only when, for example, your car disc expires, and then you'll then be given an option to convert to the new number plate, and when you buy new cars. And it's a long-term thing, not an overnight thing.
Sure.
We don't have the T number plates now, or the 3 number plates are still circulating. The previous ones, they're circulating with the current one. But we want to fast-track it as soon as possible. And we also want to ensure that, because a car is a very important security feature for fighting crime in our country. So it's very, very important that regime, that system is not compromised. And that's the reason why I'm migrating to this new system.
Premier, I know it won't cost us as motorists anything to get the new number plate, but of course the budget for the province has just come out for the third round now. Is this going to be a costly exercise? It does sound like it's got many layers to it, and it sounds like it could be a costly exercise. Do we have the resources for this? And one of our power listeners was just wondering whether or not these kinds of resources do not need to be used on more pressing issues like housing, like hunger, and that this seems to be a side issue for them, and they worry that it's a side issue that's being elevated because there's so much money that could go and land in corrupt hands. What do you say to that?
Well, I reject that outrightly, because we're seeing number plates every day. So it's not something that is new. We employ the same people that do the registration of cars every day. So we're not going to employ new people. We upgrade softwares. I mean, you can upgrade the software on your phone literally every quarter or every month. So it doesn't cost you any additional resources. And that's exactly the point. So the accusation, for example, that there's a big tender for certain individuals, or we're going to use money that is supposed to be used for other things, it's not only misplaced, it's unfounded. Purely because it's the same people, when a family member goes missing, that will want the same government to track that person. It's the same people that have argued that the kidnappings in Gauteng are too much. And if people are kidnapped, which mode of transport is being used? It's a car. We are losing lots of investors and lots of people that have huge money that can invest and create jobs in our province. They're leaving our province because of the high number of crime. So we can't fold our arms and say we are scared to innovate, we are scared to use new forms to fight crime because people will accuse us of these accusations we've just tabled. We have to innovate and move with times. We have to ensure that we protect our citizens, we protect businesses. I mean, the biggest income that we receive as a province is through this car registration, and it's from businesses, from trucks, it's from buses, and many businesses that are moving across our province. So they have to be sure that their properties are protected. They have to be sure the goods that they are delivering now, I mean, online shopping is big, and courier companies are being hijacked literally every day. So we have to protect that business, and we have a responsibility as a province to do so rather than be reduced to this form of accusations.
But Premier, I mean, it wouldn't be hard to figure out why people might have those kinds of concerns, given the corruption climate we've had in the country over the last decade and a half at minimum. So I don't think that it's hard to understand why people may ask that. I do have two callers quickly for you, Premier, that want to engage with you directly.
Okay.
Kabelo from Garankuwa, you want to direct a question to the Premier.
Oh, no, thanks, Tessa. Morning to our Jovijo Premier. Good work, my leader. I've got two questions. One is around the cracking of your organized crime in terms of the car syndicate, because this one is a crucial issue in terms of cloning of cars and the modalities dealing with the car syndicate. The other issue is that your system is very good, and I feel it should be linked to the camera systems that you have introduced across all the communities. So once my car it is being identified as one of the car that does crime, the camera system must be able to detect, to say, here the car has entered Mabopane, so this car must be intercepted and be dealt with. So I guess the interlinking of the systems will assist a great deal in terms of how the number plate correlates with how the device systems that will be kept with the officers as well, linking it to the camera systems as well. Premier, thanks a lot and all the best.
Thank you, Kabelo. Just before you respond, Premier, let me take the second call so you can respond to them together. Mr. Maboko from West Park, you are on the line now with the Premier.
Good morning, Premier. How are you, sir?
I'll be fine one day. How are you?
Fine, man. My favorite person. Man,
Sure.
I just want to ask something here. I've already seen the KZN. The registration is more or less like the GP.
Yeah.
What we are saying now, if you're going to change it, I just want to find out, like, in the tracker, if you are vegan, maybe go to location as they usually do. They will inform you, no, that your car is in the red area or whatever. The same thing which we are trying to do is going to be the same. We'll be able to know. And then my second thing is that the boys who are doing the changing of the number plate in the township, sometimes it's job creation. Well, we don't know the other motives. Some people who go there just maybe the near places, but for others it's for criminal things. But I'm looking at the issue of saying some people it's just job creation. Can you assist and maybe just brief us regarding that? Thanks, Tessa.
Thank you so much, Makobo. Premier, your closing remarks as you respond to those?
Thanks, Tessa. I think the first one is very important, and that's the reason why we are changing this number plates. There's a car that can be cloned by anyone. You find it's the same model of a car, the same number plate, but that car, the other one is in Northern Cape and the other one is in Gauteng. At the same time, being tracked by our own people. So that's the reason why we feel we need to change and eliminate that duplication.
Yeah.
And the second issue that has been raised, which is very important, the CCTV cameras. We want to be in a position to know if a car that has committed crime, we can pick it up anywhere in Gauteng. And we've already done that. We already have 17,000 CCTV cameras across Gauteng. We are rolling out in the townships as well, so that we can pick up anything that is related to a motor vehicle or anything that is related to crime in our province. And on the basis of that, that is even the current case of Olerato. That we managed to track that the car is now in KZN.
Gotcha.
The third, which is the one that is speaking about job creation, is very, very important. That is why I want authorized people that can account. So if people want to enter into that business, any business in our country, we have to register for that business, and we know who's the owner, and we can identify you. So there's nothing wrong. We're not going to change that.
Gotcha.
It's just that there must be a proper re-registration with people that will not do wrong things utilizing information of the state.
Well, thank you so much, Premier, for responding to those callers. That is Panyaza Lesufi, Gauteng Premier, giving us an update on new license plates in Gauteng.